I know today's topic is going to be very controversial. I would like to say that these are my opinions currently. I don't know if I'll change them in the future, but this is the way I see things from my worldview. I don't mean to undermine anyone, I don't mean to judge anyone. These are just my opinions. This is episode 12, Asambe Baby. So it goes to say that in 2022, we have a lot of pronouns, a lot of genders, yeah, a lot, a lot. So today I'm going to be covering the topic of transgenders, right? Okay, so firstly, we're going to start with a definition of what's trans, like what's a transgender and what's the meaning. I took this meaning from Wikipedia, so I'm going to read it as it is so that I do not just put my own thoughts onto it, right? I quote: a trans woman is a woman who was assigned male at birth. Trans women have a female gender identity, may experience gender dysphoria, and may transition. This process commonly includes hormone replacement therapy and sometimes sex reassignment surgery, which can bring relief and resolve feelings of gender dysphoria. Okay, so basically, to my understanding, what it says is that a trans woman is a woman who was born as a male. So they had male genitalia, male body parts, and so forth, but they identify themselves or they feel that they're in the wrong body and they're women, they're not men. So the reason why I decided to cover the story is that I was just going through my timelines and so forth, and there's a lot of news and feeds about the transgender situation at the moment. It all started with an American swimmer called Lia Thomas. She won the 500-yard women's competition, professional competition. And correct me if I'm wrong, she was the first transgender woman to win a professional event, which was a big deal for the LGBTQ community and so on. But there's a lot of controversy that came afterwards. FIMA, the swimming body, decided to ban Lisa Thomas because she transitioned or took hormones after she reached male puberty. So if you didn't start taking hormones by 12, and then you didn't probably do your surgery by 12 to change into a woman, then they would not consider you for any female competition. Okay, I do understand where they're coming from. Like, I don't want to lie. And I do side with them a bit because if you transition before you're 13 years old, puberty hasn't hit. You're not muscular yet, you haven't developed yet. But let's say me as a guy, as old as I am, right? I've always felt like I want to transition, I want to be a woman. But maybe I didn't have the money to do that. I didn't have the resources to do that. Or I was just ashamed of what people would think and I've been hiding in the closet and so on, right? But I grew up to become a man. So I'm stronger now. There are women who are stronger than me. I'm not saying women are weak. I grew up as a guy. Physically, my emotions, my hormones, everything matured as a man, right? Then now that let's say I have a little bit of money and society is more accepting, and then I decide to change and become trans, and then I change into a woman, right? Does that give me the right to compete now with other women, let's say with swimming competitions, with bodybuilding? Will it be fair for them? Will that be fair? I'm just asking, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You can comment if I'm wrong, as I said. But I grew up as a man. I'm already physical. I'm already, identify as a man or already look like a man. My muscles matured as a man. And then I decide, okay, it's fine now. Everyone is accepting transgenders out there. Society is more accepting, and I have the money and the means to do so. So I decide to transition. Now all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you know what? Because I've transitioned, now I'm going to go through women's competitions. Won't I win most of them? Let's be honest. Won't I win most of them? Let's say it's bodybuilding or so on. If I go against a woman who was not lifting as much as a man her entire life. She grew up as a woman, raised as a woman. Will it be fair to them? It won't be. In my point of view, it won't be. But let's say you transition before the age of 13, before you reach puberty. That can be acceptable because you haven't matured into an adult male, right? You don't have the advantages of testosterone and so on of a man. You're still in the early ages of your transition where your hormones haven't really kicked in. So if you suppress them and then you take your female hormones so that you become a woman and then you compete in women competitions, I think that would be fair, right? But if you are older than that, I don't think that's fair. However, I do think there are exceptions, right? Let's take Casper Semenya, for example. She was born a woman. She was born a woman. She wasn't born a man. She didn't have to transition to anything. She had every female part. It's just that she was more active. She had more testosterone, apparently, and so on. So her situation is quite unfair because that's how she was born. She didn't put anything in her body to change anything. She was born that way, and then she used her strengths to her advantage, which every athlete does. Sometimes we like um, complicating things. Some things don't need to be complicated. Things should be said as it is. I'm with FINA in the instance where they say that it's fine. If you transitioned, we're not banning you from any competitions whatsoever. We'll build up a division for transgender people who transitioned after puberty, which is fair. That way, you'll be competing against your peers, don't you think? Don't you want to compete against your peers so that you can be the best that you can be? You can point at someone and say, I'm better than you, even though we have the same basis, we have the same line. We started through the same line, and then I am better than you at this. Rather than giving yourself an advantage and then saying that I'm better at you at this. If you get what I'm trying to say. In my personal experience, right? Um, I was on a dating app and then I met someone. I met someone and she looked pretty, she looked beautiful, just fine. We had a conversation and I wanted to link up with the person. And then we linked up just to find that the person was transgender and then they didn't reveal it. This is another question that I want to give out there, right? When I approached her about it and I said, listen, but like you didn't say Uti are transgender. And then she said that I should like her for who she is. But how am I supposed to like you for who you are when you yourself are hiding who you are? Her profile said she was female. There was nothing about being transgender. There was nothing about transitioning. And then she spoke to me as a female. She didn't even come out even once and say that, listen, I'm trans, right? How do you know that I'm into trans? You didn't give me the option to decide whether I should accept you as you are or not. You came with a false pretense for me to like that false pretense and then come out with the truth and tell me that I should like the truth, but I fell for the false pretenses. It doesn't make sense. So, some things, as I said, guys, these are basic. I understand that the LGBTQ community has forever been ambushed, has forever been put down, has forever been spoken about badly, and so forth. But we're in a generation where news is out there, information is out there. The truth should be said. You can't be gay or you can't be trans and then you pretend to be a woman and then you expect someone to find out later on and you expect them to love you as you are when you yourself don't love who you are. There are people out there who literally like gay guys who look like women. There are people out there who like trans women than actual straight women who were born that way. There are people out there. So why don't you become clear from the beginning so that everyone is on the same page? Let's not start fighting about unnecessary stuff and say, hey, you're homophobic, hey, you're what, when you know you are the one in the wrong. If you came out from the beginning, then it's fine. But if you didn't, do not blame how people react after that. Some people are not homophobic. It's the shock that, okay, fine, I'm into this person and this person lied to me. It's a shock at that moment. Not everyone can accept who you are. If I ask people to call me Big Dick Steven, not everyone will call me Big Dick Steven because my name is Steven. Correct? So I need to be understanding and say, I can't, that person won't call me Big Dick Steven. That one will call me Big Dick Steven, but I'm fine with it because I identify as Big Dick Steven. I hope I'm making sense because I'm really trying to go through the lines here, but let's be honest, guys. Let's be truthful to one another. But either way, those are my thoughts, as I said. But if you think otherwise, you can comment below and voice your opinion. But either way, that's episode 12. I'm Steve Ovo. Please share, like, and subscribe. Join my patrons. Join my other links below. And I'm out.